Hey guys, welcome back to Movie Recalls. Today I'm gonna show you an action, crime, and drama movie from 2021 titled Night Teeth. Before I start, warning. Spoilers ahead. The average person doesn't know it, but vampires have been coexisting with humans since the dawn of time. In the old days, things were much simpler. Humans and vampires just hunted each other. But in modern Los Angeles, Boyle Heights has fought hard for its safety and has managed to strike up a truce to maintain peace. Vampires have gone into hiding and, while the general population now believes them to be fictional, they become rich and powerful. There's a human group that will protect them as long as they stick to the 3 rules: don't let anyone know they exist, don't feed on the unwilling, and never ever enter Boyle Heights without permission. One evening, Maria is doing her laundry at the laundromat when she's suddenly startled by her boyfriend Jay, who has come to pick her up to spend time together. As they leave together in his car, a mysterious vehicle starts following them. Jay recognizes it and worries because they are not supposed to be here. He stops the car at a red light and takes out a gun from the glove compartment as the other car stops next to him, revealing the driver to be a vampire called Victor. After the two men stare at each other for some seconds, Jay accelerates as soon as the traffic light turns green and parks by an abandoned building before telling Maria that he needs to warn his guys and that she should leave with the car. Jay kisses Maria, then enters the building, where he finds many members of his crew dead and hanging from the ceiling. He must quickly come back out when he hears the sound of someone breaking his car window, only to find that the car door has been ripped off and Maria has been taken. The next day, Jay's brother Benny is asleep in class, earning him laughter from his classmates when the professor wakes him up. After class, he finishes some papers he sells for money, then buys a piece of equipment for his mixer since he wants to make it as a musician. When he makes it home, he says hi to his grandmother before going to his room to work on his music, only to be interrupted by a raising voice coming from another room. Benny goes to check and finds Jay arguing with someone on the phone about reliability and Maria, but he hangs up right before he sees his brother, who asks him to hang out tonight. Jay turns him down because he'll be busy, so when he mentions this means nobody will be covering his car for the night, Benny jumps on the opportunity since he needs the money, but Jay refuses to give him the job because he's a bad driver. After he accidentally snaps at him for asking too many questions about a mysterious knife he's taking out of a box and his plans for the day, Jay takes pity on him and allows him to cover his chauffeur job this one time. There are many rules he must follow. He must wear a suit, not scratch the car, not play the music too loud, and pretend to be Jay since that's what the license and registration say. He also shows Benny how to start the car by just pressing a button on the keychain. Benny goes to Beverly Hills to pick up 2 women, Blair and Zoe, who give him 5 addresses and tell him they need to hit every single one of those parties tonight and arrive at the last location by morning. That's not negotiable. On the way to the first party, the women make Benny play games with uncomfortable questions, like sleep with, marry or kill, so he does his best to awkwardly answer them without looking unprofessional. When they make it to their first destination, Benny notices how they enter the building after getting a special button scanned. Meanwhile, Jay is talking to a friend about feeling guilty over breaking peace after 3 generations. His friend points out it's Victor's fault for breaking the rules. This is him starting a war with Boyle Heights. The two of them get their weapons ready as the rest of their group arrive, deciding they'll find Victor and kill him before morning comes. At the party, Benny has fallen asleep inside the car and wakes up when he hears a scream. Curious, he gets out of the car and kicks something on the ground. It's one of those special buttons, which he picks up and keeps to himself. There's a van watching him from the distance, crossbow at the ready, but he doesn't have time to notice it. The girls are coming out and want to leave. Benny takes them to the second party and this time, he waits for them at the parking lot while doing some reading for college. He's suddenly distracted by Zoe's phone ringing. He wants to ignore it, but it's impossible to do so when he sees a message from Victor asking about Jay and saying he can't wait to see the look on his face. Worried, Benny tries to call his brother, but he only gets the answering machine. He decides to investigate further by grabbing Zoe's bag and looking inside, where he finds a huge amount of money bills with blood on them. This causes him to get scared, especially when a police car parks nearby, so he sneaks out of the parking lot while avoiding the cop and enters the hotel. The hotel receptionist is skeptical when she sees him and tries to call security as she explains it's a members-only establishment, but she changes her mind when she sees he's holding the special button. After scanning it and hearing him ask about Zoe and Blair, she tells him they're upstairs with the owners and she takes him there by using a special key in the elevator that allows them to reach a secret floor. Benny walks into the room at the end of the hallway and finds Zoe and Blair sucking the blood out of 2 men who are currently tied to special rotating tables. Using supernatural speed, Zoe is suddenly on him, pushing him against a wall and laughing at his shaking. It's then that Benny reveals who he really is and explains he's covering for his brother, which Zoe had already suspected. She wants to drink Benny, but Blair stops her, saying he could be useful and take them to Jay. Their little chat is interrupted when one of the men wakes up and realizes his partner is dead, which is against the rules. Blair feeds on him and kills him to shut him up. Getting really scared now, Benny runs back to the parking lot where he tries to tell the cop about what he just saw. When he mentions the murders, the officer puts him in handcuffs and tries to push him inside his trunk, but he lets go of him when the girls return and say Benny is theirs. The cop knows about the vampire society and is aware of the rules, so the girls just tell him Benny misinterpreted what he saw, but this isn't enough for the officer. He is still suspicious because he didn't get a call about any collectors tonight. The girls reply he can call Victor if he doesn't like it before leaving with Benny. When he tries to send a text asking for help, Zoe takes his phone and destroys it. Moments later, when he's driving the girls around again, Benny tries to escape when he stops at a red light, but Zoe uses her speed once more to send him back to the car. Meanwhile, Victor is at his house, drinking blood from a tap that is connected to various prisoners held in glass cages against their will. After taking a selfie with them, Victor leaves in his car and goes to his boss's home, where he meets with vampires Eva and Grace, who scold him and call him reckless for violating the truce. They also say they must now kill him for it. Victor confesses he is tired of being a middleman and feeling like he has no freedom because of the truce, which is why he sends his girls to kill all the vampire bosses. Everything belongs to him now, and Eva and Grace are merely next on his list of victims. Back in the car, Blair explains to Benny what's going on. Zoe is Victor's girlfriend. She and Blair manage money at the different business and blood clubs. Since Victor is sick of not having any real power, they're now making their move. There are 5 bosses that control most of the major territories of LA, and they must take them out all in one night not to be caught. Jay's the leader of a crew that protects Boyle Heights and knows how to kill vampires. Victor tried to use him to kill the bosses, but since Jay turned him down, the idea was for the girls to hire him and take him to Victor at the end of the night, but they got Benny instead. He won't tell Blair where his brother is, so she drops the question and shares a joint with him instead. In the meantime, Zoe is on the phone with Victor, who just finished killing Eva and Grace. The plan is going along nicely and they think they can make it, but Zoe has no other choice but to tell Victor they've got the wrong driver. Victor tells her that he'll take care of Jay and that she should keep Benny as insurance. Jay and his crew visit one of the bosses, Gio, because he made Victor and could know where he is. They find the mansion full of vampire bodies and only Gio himself has been left alive. He tells Jay of Victor's plan and that his girls did this. He also mentions the next location they'll go to before trying to bite him. Jay responds with gunshots. Benny and the girls enter a convenience store where they get some snacks, and Benny admits to Zoe he's attracted to Blair. While they're dancing together, Zoe thinks the clerk is looking at them and calling someone, so she goes over and pushes him on the counter to make him confess, but it turns out he's just been talking to his mom. After Blair puts tape on his mouth, they leave the place to go to their next location, which is a very exclusive bar. When they make it there, Benny tries to ditch the girls, but they threaten him, saying that if he tries anything funny, bodies will start to drop. Since the girls are so important, they go straight to the door, avoiding the queue. But when Benny is about to follow them inside, he notices his classmates are at the front of the line, and they are now asking him to get them in. He tells them he can't do that, and they start laughing at him again when they realize he's working as some kind of servant, but Blair saves him from the embarrassment by kissing him and telling them to go search for someone else to leech onto. She orders the security guard to send the classmates back to the end of the line, which he does despite their protests. Unknown to them, Jay and his crew are also making their way in by paying off another guard. Inside the club, Benny and the girls enter a secret room, but don't find the vampire boss there. Instead, there's a vampire hunter waiting for them with a crossbow, because now that the truce has been broken, they can go all out of them. Zoe tries to threaten him, but the guy calls for his team to enter the room. All of them are armed as well. When he gives his men the order to kill the girls, Benny hits him with a bottle of champagne, creating a distraction that gives time for the vampires to kill the entire team while he stares at the cut the bottle has left on his hand. The 3 of them leave the club and are seen by Jay, who tries to follow them to save his brother, but they're stopped by another vampire. Jay kills him with a special knife that burns his entire body, and when he leaves the club too, a vampire hunter tries to convince him to join them. He refuses, telling her he only wants Victor, not to kill the entire race. As they leave the area in a car, a cop stops them to tell Jay Victor is waiting for him and that his brother says hi. Benny drives the girls away while dodging shots from the hunter's crossbows and takes them to his grandmother's house, who attacks them with a bat when they come in because she thinks they're robbers. When she notices Benny's wounded hand, she drags him to the kitchen to give him stitches and a bandage. Blair decides to help them with it. While Zoe goes to the bathroom to call Victor and report their progress, Benny retrieves one of Jay's knives from the box he saw earlier, then goes to his room to find Blair listening to his music, which she really likes. Benny tells her about his dream of making it big with his work, and in return, Blair tells him the story of how she met Zoe in the 70s. She was the one that turned her and gave her this new life. Now that they've bonded, Blair wants to leave Benny behind, but Zoe refuses. It doesn't matter anyway, because Benny wants to go with them. Jay meets with Victor at an empty restaurant. After some chatter about the broken truce, Jay shoots Victor in the head, but this doesn't kill him. The hole is soon closing on its own as Victor admits having killed Maria. Benny and the girls go to their last location, where they meet the final boss, Rocco. He invites them inside, and after teasing Benny, he points out nobody called, and they've shown up unannounced. Zoe pretends to be interested in seducing him to distract him, so Blair and Benny leave them alone and go to sit by the pool, where they start making out after sharing another emotional talk, but Blair interrupts the kissing to confess Victor has Jay. Inside the building, Zoe tries to stab Rocco with a knife, but Rocco already knew what they've come for and calls for backup. While the girls get in a fight, Benny runs outside and gets the car ready, running over a vampire hunter when he appears in the middle of the road. Blair and a wounded Zoe get in the car after they fight off more hunters waiting for them in the street. The sun is almost out and Zoe needs blood to heal, so Benny hurries to drive them to their last location, which is Victor's home. Blair takes Zoe inside after forbidding Benny to follow her because he'd get killed, but Benny refuses to leave because he's worried about his brother, so he sneaks inside after the girls are out of sight. He enters the house with a bat in hand and finds the prisoners that are getting their blood drained out. Jay is among them. When he's about to break the glass with the bat, Victor finds him and takes him upstairs, where Zoe is getting a blood transfusion. Benny tries to make a deal. He wants them to take him and let Jay go. Victor replies by monologuing, so Benny thinks he's distracted and tries to kill him with the special knife, but Victor is too fast and stops him without effort. He wants to kill Benny, but Blair stops him, confessing he wants out. This upsets Zoe, who thought they'd be in this together forever, and during their argument, she stabs Blair in the stomach. Benny chooses that moment to activate the car with his keychain, and since he had put a rock on the accelerator pedal, the car advances and crashes against a window, allowing the sunlight inside, which burns Zoe to ashes. Benny picks up her knife before he sees Jay appear in the room in chains. He comes closer only to find out it's a trap by Victor to get him to walk into the shadows and bite him. Blair, who is still alive, jumps on him and stabs him multiple times, but he easily pushes her off right before Jay jumps on him next, pushing Victor into the sunlight and effectively killing him. Blair rushes to Benny to check on him, and seeing he won't be able to make it, she feeds him her own blood and turns him into a vampire. Some days later, Jay meets with Benny for dinner after visiting Maria's memorial. Benny promises he won't forget who he should fight for when chaos takes over the city and leaves, after gifting Jay a bag full of money. He tries to study at the library, but keeps getting distracted by the sound of a woman's pulse, so he leaves the building, only to come across his classmates outside. They try to check on him because he's been MIA, but he tells them he's fine and leaves them speechless when Blair stops by to pick him up in a fancy car. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.